Welcome back to episode 90 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow Podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon in the Twin Cities, but hey, we're inside podcasting away. How's it going, Troy?
It's going fantastic. You are correct. It's beautiful outside. We're inside being dummies recording a podcast. I have been shuffling my daughter around to a bunch of grad parties, so now those are all in full swing, but I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
It is grad party season. They're anywhere and everywhere. You could gain about 600 pounds in the next month and a half.
Exactly.
Going from dessert tray after dessert tray at all these parties. Okay, a lot to get to today, but before we get started, just a reminder, the Hockey Cards Gongshow Podcast is a Patreon podcast, and that means we rely on the support of listeners like yourself to help us keep our show going, cover our expenses, continue to produce more and hopefully better hockey card content, and help us fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey card hobby. Right now, there's still time, 9 spots left to join our out of 99 support level tier, be the first 99 supporters of the Hockey Cards Gongshow Podcast. Very easy to do so. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com. There's a Become a Patron link at the top of the page there. Or you can go to the Patreon website at patreon.com and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's also a link in the show description for whatever podcast app you're listening to us on right now. And finally, in our link tree, which is on our TikTok and Instagram profiles, you can link to Patreon there. All right, Troy, you ready with the game plan?
On today's show, we begin with the greatest NHL player to wear number 90. Then it's off to an update on the Stanley Cup Finals. This is followed by hobby news and an early look at the 2022-23 Extended Series Young Guns values. We then move on to new product releases, and we end the show by doing a box battle comparison between O-Pee-Chee Platinum versus Upper Deck Ice. All right, Josh, we are on episode 90. This is the best number one we've ever done. I had the most fun doing it. It's the longest one. It has about 9 different fun facts at the end, or one interesting fact. So let's get started. The greatest NHL player to wear number 90, per the Hockey Writers, greatest player to wear each number article, is Ryan O'Reilly. That's right, listeners. You are all about to get O'Reilly'd and live through the anticipation, the experience that Josh and I go through every time we open a hockey card box. Because if you have not heard, every time we open a hobby box, we seem to get an insert of Ryan O'Reilly. I don't know why. It just happens. He loves us. We love him. That's how I'm looking at it.
Multiple inserts. The Gong Show is O'Reilly'd for episode 90. That's for sure.
We are definitely O'Reilly. Every listener is O'Reilly too. And I will say one of the greatest things ever is when we do, like, people send us cards or exchange cards. They always try to throw in O'Reilly now just so we get O'Reilly. I love it. All right, let's look at Ryan O'Reilly.
Hold on. One quick thing. I would love more than anything to have, and I've said this before, but that auto parts store, O'Reilly Auto Parts, they have that O'Reilly. If somebody could do that sounder, but add a D on the end of O'Reilly and somehow make it so it wouldn't be blatant copyright violation, that we could just play every time he comes up, that would be amazing. So
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan O'Reilly, overview. He's a center born in Clinton, Ontario, and grew up in, Varna, Ontario. O'Reilly was the 33rd overall pick in the 2009 NHL entry draft by the Colorado Avalanche. O'Reilly has played in 991 regular season games over a 14-season NHL career. O'Reilly started his career with 6 seasons in Colorado. This was followed by 3 seasons with the Buffalo Sabres. O'Reilly then played 4 full seasons with St. Louis before being traded during the 2022-23 season to the Toronto Maple Leafs after 40 games with the Blues. All right, awards and accomplishments.
He was famously traded as part of the. I hope I'm not. You can just tell me if
you
I'm
are.
skipping
I already know where you're going to go. You're gonna ruin one of my fun things.
Okay. Forget it. I didn't say anything. What is it in Men in Black where they have you're going to forget everything? I'm just going to go back into my hole.
Were you going to mention our favorite team?
The Wild?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, all right. Keep going on yours then.
Well, when he was traded from Buffalo to the Blues.
Gotcha. Tate Thompson.
Yeah. And for so long, right, a couple years, everyone assumed that the Blues got the way better end of that deal. And it worked out for everyone because O'Reilly had a lot of success there too. But yeah, part of that big trade that brought Tage Thompson to our Buffalo Sabres. But again,
Okay.
I'll just crawl back into my hole and
No, I thought you were going to go down another interesting area that I was going to get to. See, look at how excited we are about Ryan O'Reilly. We're about 5 minutes into him, and we haven't even gotten to awards and accomplishments yet because we're so excited. All right, let's get into it. Awards and accomplishment. One-time Cup winner in 2019 with the St. Louis Blues. One-time Lady Byng winner. One-time Conn Smythe winner. One-time Selke winner. And he was a 3-time NHL All-Star Game selection. His stat line for his regular season career is 256 goals, 446 assists for 702 points. O'Reilly has made the playoffs in 7 of his 14 NHL seasons, compiling 25 goals, 40 assists for 65 points in 75 playoff games played. Best season of his career from a point standpoint was his 2018-19 season, where O'Reilly had 28 goals and 49 assists for 77 points in 82 games played. While not a super high point producer, O'Reilly has definitely been a consistent point producer during his career. O'Reilly has scored 50-plus points in 10 of his 14 seasons. He's also scored 60-plus points 4 times and had one season of 70-plus points.
Okay, but this is why, though, he is such a little bit of a good hockey player. Definitely would not be mad to have him on my team, but these are not stats that make you very hobby relevant or your hockey cards all that sexy from a value perspective. So when you pull pack after pack and your hit is Ryan O'Reilly canvas, Ryan O'Reilly insert A, insert B, insert C, that's where it's gotten a little comical for us, I think.
Yeah, you're going to see the hobby love at the end. But it's funny with O'Reilly. He doesn't score 100 points a year or whatever, but he's one of the absolute best two-way players in the game. And if you look at O'Reilly, I'm going to give like the little overview, the bio of how he plays. He's known as one of the best defensive forwards in the NHL. In fact, he is one of the best two-way players in the game. He can produce points while being a shutdown defensive player. He is one of those rare guys that can be found on a team's power play unit and on the penalty kill. So he does both of them, and he does both of them very well. Also, O'Reilly is a player who becomes very visible and seems to play his best hockey in the playoffs. If you remember the stat line, if you sit there and look at the points per game, I'll get into it, but it's kind of interesting. His goals per game, assists per game, and points per game are all higher for his career in the playoffs than the regular season. It is, in fact, part of the reason he has the nickname he does, which I will get to in fun facts. I don't want to ruin it right here, but he is definitely known for showing up, or not even showing up. He shows up during the regular season, but he's a lot more involved on the score sheet when it comes to the playoffs. If you've ever watched O'Reilly play, he does a lot well. He's a consistent point producer, fantastic defensive forward. He wins faceoffs. He battles in front of the net, controls the puck along the boards. He always leads the league, or he's in the top of the league at takeaways. He does a lot of the little things well, and it all comes down to how hard he works on all aspects of his game. And I actually, in a couple articles, when I was doing research on him, I found video of his practice after practice, what he works on by himself for like a half hour to an hour. He's just out there working on every little thing, like battling in front of the net, sitting along the board, having one guy try to take a puck away from him. It's just that kind of stuff that translates into his game and being one of those well-rounded overall players. So that's kind of with O'Reilly personally, I do remember him playing with the Blues against the Wild. I don't remember him in Colorado against the Wild at all. I don't know if I wasn't paying attention or what, but I definitely remember not liking him on the Blues because he seemed to always be in our kitchen doing things that always cause the Wild issues. But that's most everyone against the Wild.
True. Very, very true.
All right. This season, O'Reilly was traded to Toronto. However, Josh, this is what I was getting to before. My favorite part of the whole trade is that you look at his NHL profile, and here's the line it says about the trade. He was traded to Minnesota by St. Louis for Josh Pilar on February 17th, 2023. Then the next line is traded to Toronto by Minnesota for a 4th-round pick in the 2025 NHL Draft, February 17th, 2023. Josh, we had O'Reilly in Minnesota for about 10 seconds. We had his rights, and then we immediately traded him because it was part of like a 3-team deal and everything. But it still cracks me up that the Wild actually had O'Reilly on the roster for that 10 to 15 seconds.
How many hockey cards did you think Upper Deck made of him in a
Can we ask
wild
him
sweater in those tents?
I mean, he was officially on the roster for a little bit, but that's what I thought you were going to get at because I love that Minnesota had him for a little bit. O'Reilly, currently unrestricted free agent, so we will see where he ends up next season once the offseason begins. All right, here we go. We got tons of fun, interesting facts. The last one, I'll just call it an interesting fact, but I just cracked up when I read it. All right, his nickname, we talked about it earlier. I alluded to it. He's called the Factor. I didn't know that.
It's a dumb nickname.
Oh, no, it's not. He's the Factor. He's a factor in every aspect of the game. That's why they call him
Factor. That's like, is he on Jersey Shore or what? Like the situation? Who nicknames you the Factor? Do people
I like the
call
Factor.
you?
I think once you know the meaning of it, it makes sense.
I get it though, but do you think anyone calls him that? Like
I do because I found so many articles that had that nickname in it, and that's how they mentioned him. They always mentioned his nickname, the Factor.
I'm anti the Factor. I'm just gonna come out there and say it. That's fine. We can disagree, but I think that he is trying to be on the Jersey Shore.
O'Reilly made the Avalanche opening night roster in the 2009-10 season, which made him the youngest player in Avalanche history to appear in a regular season game. Thought that was interesting. O'Reilly notched his first career point on October 1st, 2009 in his NHL debut against the San Jose Sharks. With his debut, he became the first non-first round draft pick to immediately make the NHL in his first post-draft year since Patrice Bergeron in 2003-04. Seems like a very technical stat, but I love it. It's a very fun fact.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive.
O'Reilly became the first Avalanche player in history to achieve 2 shorthanded goals in one game. O'Reilly holds the NHL record for most faceoff wins in a single season with 1,274 wins in the 2017-18 season with Buffalo. I can't even fathom. That means, so he won 1,274 overall, probably 2,000 some faceoffs, I'm guessing. I think the percentage was around 59%, so you could figure out what the total amount of faceoffs it was. But that to me is just crazy that he took that many faceoffs.
That's impressive, but he's no Mikko Koivu, Troy.
No, yeah, Mikko Koivu. In the 2019 Stanley Cup Finals, O'Reilly became the first player to score a goal in 4 consecutive Stanley Cup Finals games since Wayne Gretzky in 1985. That's right, folks. O'Reilly is on the same level as Wayne Gretzky. We'll just call it right now.
Hold on a second, though. Wasn't somebody from the Golden Knights could have? I don't think they scored last night. Oh, was it Marchessault that scored a goal in the first 3 games? Well,
yeah. If it was something in this year's Stanley Cup, I'm not going to have it in my stuff.
I don't think it happened because they didn't score in Game 4. But
okay, he could have had a tie.
Potential. Yeah, it could have tied him.
O'Reilly became the first non-goalie in NHL history to win the Conn Smythe in his first season after being traded. He had 23 points, 8 goals, 15 assists, and 26 playoff games during the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs. Again, I just love all these interesting stats where he's a record holder. Here we go. This one, I would have never guessed this. O'Reilly was the 2014 Lady Byng winner. Now check this out. O'Reilly took 1 minor penalty in 80 games to become the second NHL player after Butch Goring of the 77-78 LA Kings to receive 2 or fewer penalty minutes while playing at least 80 games. I think it's dang near impossible to only get 2 penalty minutes during a season. That is crazy. You just get one for skating around and accidentally running into someone every once in a while.
Wasn't there a sound theory that is if you're not playing hard enough, if you're not getting some penalty minutes?
Oh, I'm sure there's a theory, but you could probably find another theory that says, what are you doing? You're just hurting your team. O'Reilly was never in the box that year. He's
sure
won the Lady Byng, obviously. So he's.
But are you being aggressive enough? Would be
if you're smart, if you go in and not be cheap and push them and cross-check them in the back before you take the puck away from them. But who knows? Yes, there is a theory out there that says you should get some penalty minutes because you're playing hard and going in hard to boards and all that stuff. All right, last one. This is not a fun fact, and I do not mean to make light of this, but O'Reilly was acquitted of driving a motor vehicle while impaired in 2015 when the vehicle he was driving hit a Tim Hortons. I'm guessing he's pretty lucky, though, as I'm sure hitting a Tim Hortons is like a felony in Canada, and probably comes with prison time, hefty fines. So who knows? I mean, Hortons is a Canadian national treasure, and O'Reilly might have ruined his NHL career if he'd have been found guilty there. But again, he was acquitted. Again, I'm not making light. I just think it's funny he hit a Tim Hortons because I love Tim Hortons. Like, they're the greatest thing when we go to Canada. It's like good food. Love it.
You could make any wrong turn in Canada and hit a Tim Hortons.
That's true, man. Right? You know, we laugh about the U.S. having Starbucks on every corner, and you have Starbucks across the street. Same thing in Canada with those Tim Hortons. I mean, there was one spot we had 3 within eyesight. Like, we could see 3 Tim Hortons. It was just crazy.
And how do you get acquitted of hitting a Tim Hortons?
One
would think that you're charged in the first place, given that your car is inside of a Tim Hortons. And
I don't know if it really glanced off the building or what, but I'm sure you can. Okay. There's all these processes, procedures. If one thing's out of line, you can get acquitted because the process didn't take place. I didn't read why he got acquitted. I'm sure there's a reason.
He probably just wanted some hockey cards.
Yeah, he probably did. He probably heard that the hockey cards tried to get some. All right, speaking of hockey cards, his rookie card is a 2009 Young Guns, number 213. PSA 10 has a pop of 32 with a gem rate of 24%. Last verified sale in Terapeak I could find was March 18th of this year for $150 US. The BGS 9.5 is a pop of 21 with a gem rate of 53%. Last sale of this card I could find was June 25th of 2021 in Terapeak for $110 US. So again, these cards, low pops, they don't sell a lot. It's about what we expect with that low pop. They're still not even worth that much, even though the pop's so low and the gem rates are crazy low. But it is what it is. Ryan O'Reilly, like you said, not much hobby love. Really good player, just not a lot of hobby love.
Who are the second and third choices? Do you remember?
There was it's no one. It's like O'Reilly has a lockdown on 90. I can kind of look it up while we're talking.
Okay. I think a 90 is a cool number. I'm surprised more players haven't taken it. Now 91 is my guy. So
I can't remember who 91 is, but yeah, 90 is definitely O'Reilly's lockdown. I do remember like one of the comments in there. It's like he'll have it locked up for a long time. It is just getting down there. Joe Juno and Marcus Johansson.
Oh.
So I think he's got that one. Oh, yeah. 91 is your guy. That's right.
All right. We're going to move on to a Stanley Cup Finals update. So there's been 2 games since our last show, which is kind of crazy. They played game 3 was a Thursday night where Florida finally took a game, I guess, in the finals. It was definitely a must-win game. Forced OT late when your guy, Matthew Tkachuk, scored to tie the game.
Yep.
At 2-2 late in the third period, just over 2 minutes to play. It was Tkachuk's 11th goal of the playoffs and 24th point. Then an OT, Carter Verhaeghe, who's seems to have a knack for coming up big in big spots and big games. Had a long wrister that beat Aiden Hill, which gave the Panthers the win and cut the deficit to 2-1. Brandon Montour scored the other goal for Florida. Mark Stone and Jonathan Marchessault scored for the Golden Knights. Still felt, though, like the Panthers were outplayed for a good portion of that game, and they kind of stole one. Then last night, Saturday night, the Gongshow families got together. We ordered some pizza and settled in to watch Game 4, and we're all staring at our phones. 5 minutes later,
it was. I'm going to straight up say it was a boring game until that last 5 minutes. It was so boring.
Yeah, it's been rough, and it's because I was trying to think all day, like, why is this so boring? And it's because Florida can't do anything.
Yeah,
they can't advance the puck out of their zone, and they get into the neutral zone, and immediately the Golden Knights just take it away and say, "Nope, you suck." Back into your zone.
Yep.
And there's not any I don't think anyone super high end offensive talent on Vegas either, because they keep getting these point blank chances and shooting it right into Bob's chest.
Well, yeah, and just think how, if you break down the film, I'm sure Florida's coaches are going nuts. How many times does Vegas walk in, make one quick pass, you see 2 or 3 Panther guys just float off to the wrong guy, and all of a sudden they have someone sitting in the middle, just Vegas guy wide open. They broke it down on film, too. It's happening all the time. And I don't know, Florida just seems out of it. Like, I know you'll ask this probably, but 3-1, and I don't see any hope, but we'll keep rambling on about this series because that game yesterday was something else.
Just to kind of recap the game real quick, So less than 2 minutes into the game, Chandler Stevenson puts the Golden Knights up 1-0. He then scored again in the first half of the second period, giving Vegas a 2-0 lead. Stevenson scored his 9th and 10th goals of the playoffs. This team is so balanced that they've got like 4 guys who have 10 or so goals now in the playoffs, which is really impressive. And then about 3.5 minutes later, William Karlsson scored his 11th playoff goal, giving the Golden Knights a 3-0 lead, and how much they were dominating Florida. It seemed insurmountable at that point, but Florida did come back and made the game a little bit interesting. With 4 minutes to go in the second, Brandon Montour got Florida on the board. The goal that bounced off of multiple Golden Knights defenders. It was funny. They showed like a bunch of, on the TNT intermission report where people go into Twitter and a bunch of pinball memes, basically, of that goal. A pretty lucky goal, but Florida hasn't seemed to get many bounces so far. And then Barkov made it a 1-goal game about 4 minutes into the third. And really until like you said, it was the last 3 or 4 minutes where Florida seemed to come alive a little bit and made the game fun. That was the funnest part to watch for sure. Last night, game 4. Meanwhile, though, one of the undercurrents of the game that I don't think maybe we were just so bored and not paying attention to, or there's so much background noise, is that Tkachuk was, and I was reading today, was really hurt coming into the game. Like they said in pregame skate, he wasn't even really shooting. And there was a hit, I think, towards the end of the second period where he really labored getting off the ice. And at some point, in the third period, he hadn't even been on the ice in 10 or so minutes. He did kind of gut it out for that last little run that Florida went on, but that's going to be a big problem moving forward if he can't contribute for them.
Yeah, there was one, they showed a replay on the broadcast where he gets checked into the boards, and usually he would pop off and maybe give the guy a little push and then skate off. He just hits, you see him look straight ahead, like just a deep sigh, and then he skates off. Like, it didn't even look like he was all there. And I know he said it was something that happened in the second period, because in the previous game, they said he did get yanked off by the concussion spotter for a sec to get a look at, and they cleared him. So I don't think it was that, but that's interesting. It seems like some stuff is building up with him.
So like I said, he was able to gut it out in that little bit of that desperation phase after they pulled the goalie with a couple minutes left. They did make it exciting. Vegas took a really late penalty, so it was like 20 seconds left, right? There was 6-on-4 essentially with Bobrovsky back on the bench, but ultimately they couldn't beat Adin Hill. The funnest part of the game was right at the whistle when Hill comes out throwing haymakers. Who was he punching at that point?
I can't remember who it was, and I was watching. There was a fight out in center, but it was one of those where I was like, is this going to turn into a bench clearing brawl? Because there was guys two-handing, slashing each other, swinging at each other, and then you have the fans start tossing everything on the ice, and it was just like, here we go again.
And you were saying too, like, Pietrangelo was the one who took the late penalty, and he came darting out of the penalty box after the game had expired.
Yeah, I'm curious what the rule is on that. Yeah, I agree 100%. What's the rule on that? Because he was in the box, but the game is over. Like, the buzzer win. Here he comes flying out and getting involved on the ice. I don't know I know if that was like, say there was 2 seconds left and he did that, he's gone. He's suspended for a couple games for that. But if it was the end of the game, maybe there's a different rule or it doesn't affect that.
Now we have Vegas up 3-1. Of course, it's a big, big hole for Florida. How soon we forget, though, that they were down 3-1 to Boston at one point and ended up coming back. I just don't know if I see it this time. Their inability to really do anything with the puck. And this, with whether Tkachuk plays or not in game 5, it's 2 days from now. And it just doesn't seem like whatever it is like a sprained ankle or something like that, where you could have a big time recovery. So it seems like he'll be limited at the very least, or potentially, I suppose, not even play. I don't know. Do you see any hope at this point, if you're a Florida fan, that other than maybe that they've proven people wrong before?
Yeah, I don't. They're just injuries. You got Tkachuk not 100%. I think it's been a long playoff run. I just don't see them coming back.
Bob would have to get so hot that he just saves anything and everything.
He could, but I don't see it happen.
Could happen too. Looking at the hobby real quick, we've gone through these guys so much. I just thought we'd look at kind of the two biggest ones, Tkachuk and Eichel. So Tkachuk, his 2016 Young Gun PSA 10 pop 779 is coming back down quite a bit after it spiked last week. Last selling, Troy, for $185 on June 10th. Remember, we talked last week, it peaked at $345 on June 3rd. So $345 to $185 in 7 days. That's a 46% drop in 1 week. It's not a $350 card.
No.
And then that's I think that he will be hobby relevant coming into next season, but the young guns, even at still a relatively low $779 pop, again, I just don't see it as a $350 card. Jack Eichel on the other side of the ice, meanwhile, his 2015 young gun PSA 10 pop 1012, that sold for $198 on June 10th, so surpassing Tkachuk in value at this time. It's kind of interesting. Eichel's young guns is up 8% in the past 2 weeks.
I'm curious what will happen to Eichel next game. So he got blown up by Tkachuk. Then he gets hit in I think it was the back of the head or the ear by a puck. And he looked like that hurt and he skated right off. What's next? Is his knee going to blow up? Is he just going to get hit in the face with a puck? It's kind of a rough couple days or rough couple games for injury stuff happened to him.
I agree with you. I'm not judging here because if I got hit in the back of the head with the wrist or whatever, I would be the biggest, most melodramatic baby. But he has he's had really big reactions to all these, and then he's on the ice the next shift. So it's okay, Jack.
I know. When he got that check by Tkachuk, you see him I almost want to say he was going "ow" or something. You see his mouth make some words. It just cracked me up. I don't know if anyone made some memes about that, but that'd be pretty funny.
And getting back to just really quickly, I don't know why this has not been more fun to watch. It's in the least favorite round to watch. And I think it's because the wheels have fallen off the Panthers. And so much of the game, they're just getting dominated. But unless they really turn it around, I won't mind the series being over soon and just getting it over with. Okay, want to make a quick mention for Slab Sharks. They, of course, are a Gong Show partner and sponsor. I'd like to thank them for supporting our show. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction is live. Spent some time perusing it yesterday, Troy. I know you often check out their auction as well. There's a bunch of sweet cards, as we've come to expect with Slab Sharks. How about a Sorokin Future Watch Auto $9.99 PSA 10? People go hard for Ilya Sorokin. Man, we see sales that are just crazy and kind of don't fit the typical goalie or young goalie profile. And so it'll be curious to watch that one. Or maybe an Adam Fox Future Watch Auto PSA 10 as well. Troy will probably pick up both because you're a big spender.
There we go.
There's a really cool 2020 UD Clear Cut Cale Makar Rookie Tribute Auto PSA 8. That was a neat card. Maybe you think Carter Hart is moving to a contender this summer. How about a Young Gun PSA 10? That's in the auction. One of my favorite cards ever, which won't break the bank by any stretch, but is the 1990 Upper Deck Pavel Bure Young Guns. And this one's a PSA 10 in the auction. He's wearing the old CCP.
Ooh, the Russia, yeah.
The Soviet jersey. Love that jersey. If you're a Matt Sundin guy, which I know you are, Troy, there's a 1998 Upper Deck Star Quest Gold out of 100 raw. Just lots of great cards to check out. So you can either go to Slab or Google Slab Sharks eBay or go to the slabsharks.com website and click on the link to the auction there. And if you're a Canadian hockey card collector, have a few cards you want to move for some cash, we'd recommend considering Slab Sharks eBay consignment services for a couple of reasons, really. First, they do all the work for you, from listing your cards, answering buyer questions, hunting down payment, and shipping them to the auction winners. And secondly, Slab Sharks gets lots of eyeballs on your cards via their very popular weekly auctions. And they even ship to the U.S., so going to expand your auctions to the biggest buying pool possible. For complete consignment services information, check out slabsharks.com. Okay, not a lot going on hobby news-wise, Troy, but there is couple articles that I kind of mashed together on the trade season, which is starting to heat up a little bit, a lot of speculation. The first thing it made me think of is, you're a baseball guy too. In baseball, the off season where people discuss trades, they call it a lot of times what the hot stove season.
I like sit around the stove and talk about, because it's the winter, right? It's cold.
Yeah,
you're supposed to sit around the stove and talk about trades and everything. So knowing that we just
need something like that.
Yeah, they do. And I was going to say, knowing that we just talked about Ryan O'Reilly forever, is this whole section on Ryan O'Reilly's trade value? Is that what this is about? Oh,
no. I've had my fill. I like Ryan, but I've had my fill. So I want to I was trying to think of names, and I wasn't being really creative. Like campfire season. So it's like a summer activity.
You do camps. Yep, you do campfires in the summer. You go to the cabins or you go out in the woods, fight bears, all that fun stuff.
If anyone has any better suggestions, message us on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. But yeah, I think hockey, we need to brand the off season. That being said, though, there are some notable names, Troy, that will likely be playing in new home arenas next season. The two biggest ones, or a couple of the bigger ones that are 99% moving, are Pierre-Luc Dubois and Alex DeBrincat, who've both told their respective teams they will not be resigning.
Okay.
Dubois is a 24-year-old forward currently with the Jets who scored 27 goals and ended up with 63 points in 73 games played last season. His best season to date point-wise. And then DeBrincat, like Dubois, has informed the Senators he won't be resigning as well. He had 27 goals, 39 assists, 66 points, and 82 games played last season for Ottawa. A down year for DeBrincat, who had actually 41 goals in 2021. This went from 27 goals to 41 goals to 27. So if these are the bigger guys that could be on the trade market, thinking of the hobby now, do you think if either of them went to the right team that it would make any sort of hobby splash, or are these just good hockey players but lower tier hobby guys?
I don't know. I think DeBrincat still, there's something there. I've liked him as a player, but things did not go well in Ottawa. And I'm actually glad to hear him say he doesn't want to sign there and move on. I just don't think it was the right fit for him. Man, put him back in Chicago with Bedard coming in now. Let's see what he can do. But no, I think if DeBrincat goes to the right team, there could be definitely be some love there. Full disclosure, I have a DeBrincat PSA 10, just so everyone knows. I do have one.
Try the pumper.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'd burn bridges going out of Chicago. You never know. I'm not, it's just a pure, just random thought. But yeah, because you don't often see guys go back.
No.
So soon.
Maybe at the very end of their career to give the I'm sorry and I want to retire as a part of your organization thing. But yeah, I don't see it happening. I think DeBrincat to the right team could be very interesting. Maybe Colorado, go to Colorado or something.
Oh, yeah. That'd be really fascinating. Other guys, according to The Athletic, that could be on the move. So they did a big trade value article, who are the top 15 or 20 potential trade assets. And it looks like the Jets might be in a rebuild here. And in addition to Pierre-Luc Dubois, it seems like that there's a good chance that both Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck will be gone too. I think both have a year left, and maybe both inform the team, or it's just known that they wouldn't re-sign with them. So I think that is the impetus for them being on the market. But man, that's really kind of getting rid of a lot of your core players there at that point. Hearing rumors in Philadelphia about a lot about Carter Hart, Travis Konechny, Kevin Hayes, who seems like been very controversial there, and wouldn't be surprised to see him move. Jesper Bratt. There's a lot of talk, I think, in the Devils that, and it seems like maybe that one's more 50-50, whether or not they end up re-signing him or moving him. John Gibson for the Ducks is another guy. So it's some pretty big goalie names here, Troy. You got Hellebuck, Carter Hart, Jonathan Gibson. If you're a cup contending team or a big market team like Montreal, which one of these tendy names is most interesting, or maybe helps get teams like the Maple Leafs or the Oilers to the next level? Who are you targeting?
Out of all those guys, I would probably want Hellebuck. I think he's still shown the most promise. He's obviously, 2-3 years off a Vezina trophy win. So I think there's still something left in his tank. He's not, how old is he? He's 30. I just looked him up. Couldn't remember if he was like one of those 35 or 30-year-olds, but he's 30. I do like Carter Hart. Now, nothing about Carter Hart's stat line will impress you, but I've always thought he's looked good at times. And again, playing with Philly, it's just been kind of rough. So I would be interesting to see where he goes if he does. But I think I would be leaning towards Hellebuck as the one I would target if I really needed a goalie.
That was my guess who you'd say. And so it kind of got me down the Hellebuck rabbit hole, and just thinking that given he's an American goalie and he's played now since 2015, where does he fit right in the pantheon of U.S.-born goalies? So I looked it up. He's 11th in games played with 445 all-time. These are all-time stats. 9th in wins, and nobody with less games played than him has more wins. He's 12th in goals against average all time with 2.66. Interestingly enough, do you know who number 1 is?
For all-time wins?
No, goals against.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm trying to think of American goalies. I always forget Richter. It's probably someone obvious.
I'm not sure what Quan Honky used as a qualifying games, but he had enough.
Was it Van Beesbrook?
Played right around 100 games. Jeremy Swayman.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's why. Yeah.
Playing on Boston, right? I mean, both goalies look awesome.
Tom Barrasso, I forgot about too. I forgot about him. He's probably in some of these.
He's 12th in goals against average with 2.66. 5th all-time in save percentage with 9.916. So when you see like that disparity between goals against and save percentage, what does that tell you? Is there anything to be gleaned there that even though his goals against were pretty high, is lower than his save percentage?
You'd have to look at more of the advanced analytics stuff to see what's going on. And also you got to look where the shot's coming from. This is the whole problem with analytics. Goalie stats are so far behind because we only have these two basic ones, or three. We'll say wins, goals against average, save percentage. Every analytics person worth their weight has like destroyed these numbers. They don't mean anything. You have to go even deeper to see what's going on with these goalies. And again, we're such in the infancy with goalie analytics that it's kind of tough when you see just these numbers in isolation to really know what's going on. But it's all we got right now, so that's what we use.
And he's 8th in shutouts with 32. When you look at these, though, it doesn't like knock your socks off. But if you think, man, if he plays another 5-6 years and plays well, he'll likely be at or near the top on a lot of these key goalie metrics for American-born players, because he should have a good, as long as he stays healthy, another good run ahead of him.
Yeah, it's I actually pulled up a list because when you think about American goalies, there's not a lot they jump to mind as all-time greats. And USA Hockey put in this 51 and 30 program that they want 51% of the minutes played in, I think it's NHL and at the time the NWHL. They wanted 51% of the minutes played to be played by American goalies by 2030. Not sure it's going to happen, but there is definitely more American goalies coming into the NHL. But I was just looking at the games played for these, the top fives: Van Beesbrook, Ryan Miller, Barrasso, Jonathan Quick, Craig Anderson. And then once you get out of the top, 12, 13, it gets pickings get slim there.
Mm-hmm. I don't know enough about sort of the Canadian hockey dynamics. I just wonder if Winnipeg would trade Hellebuck to the Maple Leafs, because I think Maple Leafs fans would go bananas. But I don't know if it's like the Packers would never trade Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings sort of deal.
Or what about Edmonton? Edmonton could use him too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, plus look at Scheifele. I mean, it's interesting with him. He's a 42-goal scorer, and that's a lot of Winnipeg's goals right there that they're going to lose.
He scored 42 goals. Is there a 40-goal scorer that less people care about in our hobby than Mark Scheifele?
Yeah, you're dead on. Like, he had 42 goals, 20-some assists. 42 goals, 26 assists. I mean,
how many games played?
81.
Okay, so he played the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another big name that could be on the move. So, and I think, too, that from what I don't have the list in front of me, but the free agent, the UFA market is pretty weak sauce, I think, this year. So maybe the trading end of it, the offseason wheeling and dealing, will be a little bit more interesting. We'll keep following that. And that was really the most relevant thing, I think, going on from a hobby news perspective. Okay, we're going to transition quick to really the whole last part of our show is going to be very new release focused. We're in another one of these times where it's like new releases galore. They're coming out of everywhere. And to start, I think want to take a tiny view backwards all the way to last Wednesday when we had extended series come out. And I think anytime you have new young guns hit the market, there's always curiosity as to, okay, who are the guys people are chasing? How do the values compare to what we typically see in young guns releases? Our thought was, well, the checklist had seemed pretty weak when it came out, and that there wouldn't be a lot of chase. And so I wanted to look up some of these guys and see, of course, where their raw cards are selling for right now, because not any, I probably at this point have been graded by any of the grading companies. And we'll start with the young guns. Again, pretty tough young guns checklist. They dropped it down to 30 from 50. Mm-hmm. That didn't help much. And really, I found 4 guys that have even somewhat respectable value at this point. So I think the biggest chase, like we had anticipated, is Kirill Marchenko, and he's selling at like $19 to $20 raw at this point. So we're less than a week after release. And the other, I think, bit of context that is really important here is to remember that this is when the prices will likely be the highest for a while because the quote-unquote excitement of the new release coming out. This is where you would see a Matty Beniers raw card selling for $120, where now, of course, it's way, way less. So given that Marchenko at roughly around $20, at least for the short term, is probably not a super great indicator that there's going to be a lot of value in these guys. And again, maybe 3 years down the road, one of these guys scores 60 goals, and then we're talking a whole different story at that point. But just from what we know today. Then moving beyond Marchenko, the next biggest guy is the Jonathan Bergeron.
I hate that name. I hate that last name. It just destroys my brain when I try to read it.
I always want to say Jonathan, too, because
so
sort of programmed to quickly do that. He's in the 16 to 20 U.S. range, maybe just a tier below Marchenko. Then there's a bigger drop to Atu Ratti, who's at like in the $750, $10 range, U.S. raw. And then Juuso Parssinen about $5, and that's about it. Everyone else is like $3, $4, $250. It's a little hard at this stage because somebody will pay like $8.
Yep.
But then the rest of the sales are at $3, $4. And then when you get less than $5, of course, with eBay, you have to do a lot of factoring in on the shipping rates, right? Yep. Somebody will charge $1.99 for Young Guns, but then $12 for shipping.
Yep.
So you have to kind of balance all that out. Does that surprise you that no one's going real deep or hard for any of these guys?
No, it doesn't surprise me one bit. I think most people were right, and they're thinking that it's going to be kind of a relatively weaker Young Guns class, which we kind of knew going in. Plus, there's nothing that's going to propel these guys up right now because we're entering the off season. So these are going to sit at these prices or even go down farther as we get into the off season dip.
One of the strategies that Upper Deck used to balance out the checklist, I'm sure that they didn't know, but it maybe just worked out that way, is by dropping the Young Guns to 30 and then having that first round rookies insert. It's very akin to 1990 Upper Deck where you had Young Guns and then some rookie cards where like Curtis Joseph maybe was one of them. Or I'm trying to think of who are the rookies. I know Yager had one of those, right?
Yeah, he for sure had one of those.
And so I was really kind of curious to see, well, what are collectors going to think about these, or how are they going to value them on the secondary market? And I didn't think they would eclipse the Young Guns in popularity. So, and I'm just going through the base ones here. I think they have like Clear Cut and French and what are all the other different exclusives and high gloss of these two. But just from the base perspective, you have Matty Beniers leading the way at 7 to 10 US raw. Slavkovsky is selling for about 8 US raw. Shane Wright, $6. Owen Power, $5. And Ken Johnson, $5. So,
yay.
They're not a card, though, they're that very portrait style card.
Yes.
And I just don't like them. Maybe some other people do. So, not something that appeals to me. And then finally, I thought, again, we're looking at a very small window. We're 6 days or 5 days into the release. So, that should all be taken with a grain of salt from that perspective. But just what are the biggest sales so far from Extended? Because Extended does have tons of inserts. They've got tons of Easter eggs and tributes and retros, which help definitely make the set a lot more interesting than if it was just solely reliant on the strength of the Young Guns checklist. Not a big surprise here either. It's the acetates that they've included as Easter eggs that really leading the way so far from values. One of the, I think, more important points that Billy made in our interview is the fact that including the Young Guns acetates in Extended Series does not water down. It's the same amount are produced. I think people would lose their mind if it was, especially an Extended, if that was the case.
Well, my favorite part of that interview was when he's like, we're going to load up Extended and screw all you people that aren't going to get it right away or whatever. It was kind of, he didn't say it like that. It was funny how he said it, that they're going to load up Extended with these acetates. I love that.
I just don't know I haven't seen like what the pack odds are. They got to be pretty horrible. So don't go run out and buy. You'll be like our friend Phil, the Loud Collector. You should go watch his YouTube videos. They're really funny. He's on a mission to get a 1990 Pro Set Stanley Cup hologram, and I think he'll spend $50,000 on hobby boxes in order to find one. Let's just say he's got lots of 1990 Pro Set cards at this point. I'm sure it'd be very similar with Extended. I don't know if like an acetate is a case hit, or it's probably even got to be less than that. But like I said, those are leading the way from a total sales perspective. Biggest seller so far is this surprised me a little bit. Brant Clark Young Gun Acetate, $750.
Yeah, that's crazy, especially when you read
for. I checked.
Especially when you read the next one.
Yeah. Then Matty Beniers goes for $580. So Brant Clark almost $200, well, $170 more than Matty Beniers. Somebody really likes Brant Clark and was very nervous that they weren't going to get his Young Guns acetate.
Especially he's a D. Brant Clark's a D. That's crazy.
Well, I even was like, who? I had to look up like what series he was because I was all confused here for a second. Like, how's this happening? Then the third, so the Matty Beniers was the second highest sale for his Young Gun acetate, $580 US. Then next was a Black Diamond, another Beniers, the Rookie Diamonds printing plate, magenta, so 101, $425. A Pyotr Kochetkov Young Gun acetate, $400. And then the fifth highest selling is a Juraj Slavkovsky Young Guns tribute exclusives out of 100 that went for $375. Okay, and since the video's out, this is where we get to talk about our quote-unquote big hit out of Extended, which is another tribute Young Guns exclusive, probably not as big of a name as Slavkovsky, but Matthias Michelli, who had a better season than Slavkovsky. Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to be a better player, but was, I think, third in rookie scoring. And so it's not like a 101 Wayne Gretzky or something like that. But for us, if you've ever watched us open packs, you know it's hot garbage every time. What we get nothing. We get O'Reilly. That's like our speed. And so I was pretty pumped to pull the Matthias Michelli tribute Young Guns exclusives. It's a 07-08 tribute. But then, and it wasn't even the first, I didn't even look it up the first day. Day two, after we opened, so it would have been Thursday, go up, and somebody had sold this card fixed price on eBay for $35.
Well, someone got steal. Like, holy cow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sure, it sold in like 22 seconds. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm mad because we finally pull a good card, and somebody is just like aggressively wants to get rid of it by pricing it for nothing. Well, now that's your comp. So our big hit now has a $35 comp, and I'm like, this is great. And I'm intellectualizing the whole thing the whole time. I'm thinking, there's no way this is a $35 card. But thank God, I think, a day or so ago, someone sold for $113 at least. And so that's the comp that I used. I'm hoping it'd be more worth like $150.
It's probably the guy that bought the one for $35 if I just flipped it.
Oh, my God. It is a good point, though, that on release day, if you have time and go on eBay and be crafty and wait for people that are just doing dumb stuff, like me, who bought a Crosby Highlighters orange for basically the high water mark.
Oh, that's all right.
There's a lot of suckers on eBay on release day, and sometimes their name is Josh. But if you're smart, you can take advantage of that. I still wonder, too, how the lack of differentiation between clear cut and acetate ultimately hurts the... Have you seen one in person?
I don't think so, and I'm still a bonehead. To me, they're the same thing, just in my head. I know they're different. I know if you see them in person, they're different. We've been told that. I think you've seen them both in person.
Yeah.
Maybe I have and just didn't think about it, but...
It's a lot thicker.
Yeah.
Here's the big differences. It's a lot thicker, and a clear cut is just acetate.
Yeah.
Where the acetate, the Young Guns acetate, has foiling on it too. And so it's almost got like a rainbow foil sheen to it. They are a million times better. But I think it's unfortunate that there's the clear cut as well, because it's super confusing to anyone that wouldn't know. And these acetate cards go for Brant Clark, $750.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? That's nutty. Okay, need to make a quick mention for PWCC, of course, Gongshow partner and sponsor. Want to thank them for supporting our show. The June premiere auction is live. Ends June 22nd, Troy. There's only 2 hockey cards in it, but they are doozies, that's for sure. First hockey card is the 2005, the Cup, Sidney Crosby RPA at a 99, PSA 8 with a 10 auto. And then a 2015 O-Pee-Chee Platinum Connor McDavid Seismic Gold, auto at a 25, PSA 9, auto 10 grade there. Was curious about the McDavid and how many times these 2015 Platinum Seismic Gold out of 25s have sold. I could only find one other sale. And that was a raw card that sold for $808 US in April of 2018. I think it's already way above that. It's like $5,000 already. So it'll be really fascinating to see where that ends up. I still do fall under, and call me crazy, but I prefer the O-Pee-Chee Platinum apparels that are not autoed versus the ones that are autoed.
Yeah,
so
I don't think that's crazy at all. I think that might be a prevailing thought, actually. I think a lot of people like, especially the seismic golds, a lot of people like the non-auto, but even on the other parallels that you get out of Platinum, a lot of people do not like the autos on the parallels.
Well, it's one of those things where because the way the surface is, they have to like deaden the surface in order to, and take a card that's really shiny and very vibrant and make it dull so that the ink from the pen can adhere to it or whatever that is. So 2 pretty good cards though. In addition to the current weekly auction is live as well. I wrote down 536 hockey cards, but that's in the current auction that ends on tonight on Sunday night. So I don't know how many hockey cards are in there. Maybe, Troy, you can look it up for next week's auction. But there's always a good mix of vintage and modern. And as we always do, we'll pick out our favorites and highlight them on Thursday's show. So be sure to go to pwccmarketplace.com to check out both auctions and also their fixed price marketplace. Now we're going to get to our new releases segment. And I know there's been a couple periods where we've had products come out back to back. But I think when you add in the Fleer Ultra delay that now looks like it's coming out today at noon Pacific, so the 12th on EPAC. And so what then, a span of 9 days, we might have 2021 Fleer Ultra, 2021 Upper Deck Ice, and 2021 O-Pee-Chee Platinum. That seems crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of products, but they got to do it. You just got to do it or else you're going to keep falling behind. But it's been kind of a blessing in disguise, like we've said, with this 22-23 class, that you still have 21-22 product coming out where you have a little more, I'll say a little more pizzazz with the rookie so far.
Yeah, the Ice checklist is out, and so is the Platinum. You're going to cover those in a second, but just to give everyone the latest update on Ultra, we mentioned it drops today, June 12th at noon on EPAC. If you missed our interview with Billy Cilio last Thursday, our last show, we talk a lot about Fleer Ultra, and you'll definitely want to go give that a listen if this set interests you. Again, though, we've gotten checklists sent to us, we've gotten updates as far as release, what's going on. Nothing's ever had Billy didn't know what the price of this is. And
just help us for planning purposes, people. Like, just give what you think the price is going to be. I don't understand why they can't announce the price. It drives me nuts. Every physical product, we have a pre-sale price at least.
Okay, so I've got let's each take a guess.
Yeah.
And what do you think? I have no idea what I'm going to. So for a hobby box and EPAC of Fleer Ultra, now again, they don't have to, they always say, well, we raise the price because we don't want the card shops to get sad.
Yeah.
And feel like that we're undercutting them. So that's out the window. What's your best guess as to what a hobby box is for this on EPAC?
I forget the release configuration. I'm going to go 150 to 200, somewhere there. I'll say I'm going to go 160. That's what I'm going to say.
I'm going to guess 130.
Okay.
So we'll see.
I hope it's closer to yours.
Yeah, me too. That would be nice. So Fleer Ultra today should be interesting to see again what people have to say about the cards. And the big thing here is that we're not going to have these in hand right away. So they're going to have to open them, transfer them to ComC, and then send them to your house or whatever. Or I think there'll be a lot of listings on ComC right away. So if you want to buy on the secondary market, that's probably going to be the place to go.
So are you going to do a box opening? You're going to record the screen as you click open EPAC and see, go through your whoosh, whoosh.
Before I spend the money on it, I'm going to test that out a little bit. I might buy like a pack of Series 2, but
see how it works.
Probably do that.
All right.
Okay, I mentioned that Upper Deck Ice and Platinum checklists are out, and Troy, you did your usual deep dive into them, and can't wait to see what you got to report on these.
Oh, yeah. I just did the base overview, so let's go. We got 21-22 Upper Deck Ice. It's ready to drop. Again, like I've said, I'm not an Ice fan, but I think I'm becoming more of an Ice fan now that I actually put away my petty judging of it and started looking at it a little more. And again, remember, 21-22 Upper Deck Ice is going to be a dual rookie class, as Billy mentioned. And there's also going to be other 2021 cards in there. And the way they're putting them in, it looks like there's going to be a 5-card bonus pack in each hobby box is how they're doing it. So if you look at the sell sheet at the end, it says it will have in big red text, the extra bonus pack. Again, it's ice, so we're also going to get the Exquisite Collection. Will also remain a set within a set for Upper Deck Ice. It will also include cards from 21, 22, and 2021. There will be parallels along with autos and memorabilia exquisite cards as well. So I'm sure that will make a lot of people happy. The 21-22 base set, there's 100 cards along with 50 rookies. Base cards and base rookies have 7 parallels each. I'm not going to read them all off. You can go find that. Also, obviously, one of the bigger chases is the Acetate 21-22 Ice Premieres. So these are split into tiered levels. I think it's level 5 to level 1, if I remember right off the top of my head. Obviously, highlights top rookies, and they each have, those levels have varying print runs. They also have parallels of these as well. For the inserts, the new ones, Frozen in Ice, which is a box hit. And these Frozen in Ice cards, I didn't know this. It's a rip card, and it holds an Ice Premier's mini rookie acetate card in it, which now I want one because I want to rip. My favorite thing in Allen and Ginter was when you'd rip those cards open and see what's in there.
Well, we know we can't buy packs or boxes because we open them. Are you able to not rip a rip card?
Oh, I'd rip it.
Yeah.
I would never be able to hold off. I would just like, see what I get and watch it decrease in value.
Can I make one clarification on the Ice Premieres too? That it's not a mistake you made, but I think is important, especially for new collectors. This is Ice Premieres. I'm assuming it's the Canadian spelling because it's got the extra E. So it's Premieres. Where in America, we would not have that extra E. So if you're looking for these cards on eBay or other selling platforms, you always have to add that extra E.
All right, so I got the new ones. We got the rip cards, the die cut, ice crystal cards. They got top veterans, rookie talent. Also new in the 21-22, we got the Shrine Stars, Shrines Rookies, and Shrines Legends. These have a dual layer card with acetate on the bottom and rainbow foil board on the top. Again, I think Billy touched on these. And then also they're going to have Ice Premieres Retros, numbered to 149. And these, I believe, there's also, actually not in the Ice Premiere Retros, but they're also having hobby exclusive Sub-Zero cards. I guess it was a series. It's back. And falls at a rate of 1 per box. We'll get into the box stuff in a little bit. For autos and relics, the base set, they have autograph and memorabilia editions of all those cards. The Ice Premieres also has autographs and relics. There's also, for other autograph chases, there's Glacial Graphs, which is 1 in 288 packs. They have Glacial Graphs Black, which are numbered, and some will have inscriptions. There's also Signature Swatches and Signature Swatches Black. Plus, they will have Sub-Zero Rookies Blue Auto and Sub-Zero Rookie Variants Green Auto. So there are a bunch of different kind of auto variations or cards that you can get in Upper Deck Ice. For our hobby box breakdown, 6 cards per pack, 12 packs per box, plus your 1 bonus pack. For what you will get in it, you'll get 1 hit, an autograph, relics, or Frozen in Ice. There is no guaranteed auto, so just remember that. You will get 2 Ice Premieres, 3 Ice Crystals, 1 Sub-Zero insert, 12 base rookies, 12 green parallels, 3 base parallels, orange and or lavender. You will get 1 20-20-21 Upper Deck Ice bonus pack, which we've kind of said. You will get 1 Rookie Premieres, 1 base parallel, and 3 base cards. I believe that's of that bonus pack. The 113 that I just read is what's in that bonus pack. Release date, June 14th, 2023. David Adams has it in the U.S. for $129.95 U.S. Clouton Chara in Canada has it at $179.99 Canadian. Total, I love doing this. There's 4,838 different cards in this set.
And you're getting, 70 in a hobby box, roughly?
Yeah, what is it? You get 72. Oh, no, plus your
72.
5. So it'd be 77.
77.
Yep. So
I think it's worth noting, too, that, and this is my perception. I haven't gone back and looked for sure. So the release date's June 14th. My recollection so far, Troy, is that when Upper Deck has tried to go back to back to back to back with stuff like this, that this is the one that's most likely to be pushed. where if Ultra comes out on the 12th and then Platinum on the... No. Platinum would be the one to be... Sorry, I'm got my dates mixed up. So I'm sure this one's pretty solid at this point because it's Wednesday that, 2 days from now that it's coming out.
Yeah, because those are already at... those should already be shipping out to distribute.
I'm sure they're already in hand.
Yeah, the hobby shops might have them already. So that's Upper Deck Ice. And then also, like Josh said, we have 21, 22 O-Pee-Chee Platinum checklist. Are you more excited for Ice or... Is that one of our questions? I was just wondering, are you more excited for Ice?
We'll wait for the next segment.
Okay, next segment. Never mind.
Go through that.
I'm jumping the gun. All right, so again, 21, 22 O-Pee-Chee Platinum checklist is out. Let's take a quick look. First off, big news. The hobby box configuration is changing. Previously, O-Pee-Chee Platinum contained 20 packs of 4 cards, which is way too many packs. It was annoying kind of opening. I remember watching you open that one box, and I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous how there's 20 packs.
I hate cards or packs that have like 2, 3, 4 cards.
Agree 100%. The new configuration, which I think is a lot better, is 12 packs of 12 cards. So 144 total compared to 80 in the previous configuration. Base set size also increases from 150 to 200 for the veterans. The marquee rookies are also up to 100 for this release. So take that for what you will. I think there's been some rumbling. Some people don't like it. Base set still has lots of parallels, 15 in total from what I counted. Our favorite, Seismic Gold, is still there. There's the addition of Hot Magma parallel, and we lost our favorite Under the Sea parallel, also known as Aquamarine. Very sad. We'll have to do like a special gong show on the Aquamarine parallel.
It seems like they have to have a ridiculous parallel. It's going to be like Hang Glider next year. I do say, though, and I should have made this point a second ago, but I don't love that the rookie checklist is 100 on that. There's going to be a lot of boxes that don't have very good rookies.
That's what happens when you get more cards in your box. They have to find those other guys to put in there. For the inserts, we have retros, 1 in every 2 packs. They also have some limited parallels for the retros that offer that additional chase, we'll call it. Other inserts include Photo Driven, featuring stars and rookie players, Platinum Die Cuts, which is a new option for vets and rookies, and Sweet Selections, which are just for rookies. Okay, for autos, they have on-card rookie autos. They're debuting the Blue Tracks parallels. We have Retros Red autographs covering veterans and rookies. There's also Blue Rainbow autographs, which is new, plus Photo-Driven Rainbow autographs, Platinum Die Cuts Rainbow autographs, and Sweet Selections Rainbows autographs. Lots of different parallels they're pumping for the autographs. And then I think you also have just your normal base autos in the set as well. Plus, there might have been a couple. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I really wish they'd bring back blue cubes. And I don't think I think that's a very popular take, too. A little curious as to why that hasn't maybe happened yet, but I wouldn't be shocked because I would assume Billy and company or Tony, whoever does Platinum, has heard that over the last year or two, that people wish that. I'd much rather blue cubes than hot magma.
Yeah. Well, whatever is blue tracks. I haven't seen. I forgot to look up what those look like, but I'm guessing that.
I think the tracks are more the hobby exclusive ones.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I mean the retail exclusive ones.
Gotcha. All right, hobby box breakdown. We have 12 cards per pack, 12 packs per box. Like we said, you will, on average, get 1 autograph, 11 base parallels, rainbow, sunset, and or matte pink, 5 numbered base cards, 6 O-Pee-Chee retro cards, 1 O-Pee-Chee retros rainbow parallel, 12 inserts, which could be photo-driven, platinum die cuts, and or sweet selections. Release date, we have June 21st, 2023. David Adams right now is listing pricing of a hobby box at $199.95 US. Klaus and Chara is listing $249.99 Canadian. And this release, there are 4,999 different cards.
You had asked the question a couple minutes ago, what are you more excited about? And my gut reaction would be O-Pee-Chee Platinum. I really, really love O-Pee-Chee Platinum. I love the red prisms. I love the seismic golds, the orange checkers, the houndstooth. They're just awesome cards, and very, very much so some of my favorites. But man, when you compare these two releases, so let's do a little like pros and cons list here real quick. You've got Ice that has a dual rookie class. Intriguing. it has, and I'm telling you, Troy, for me, this is becoming more and more of a huge factor. Their rookie checklist is 50. And we see this, it seems like with these products that the rookie checklists are either 50 or 100.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not digging these 100 rookies on the checklist. And now when you throw in the price, so you have, we'll talk in US terms here because we're in the United States, you have Platinum at $200 and Ice at $130. And the $200 box has 100 different rookies, in which the extra 50 are not good, by the way.
Yeah.
They're all cards you don't want to hit. I don't know, man.
Well, think about it too. For the 130, the 130, you also get your favorite cards. The Exquisites are in there. Now, you might not hit any, but it's a chase.
Oh, we won't. We never hit any.
But the only thing the only thing that O-Pee-Chee Platinum has going for it is you get the guaranteed auto. But you know the game with that, it might be garbage. But that's the only thing it's got going for it right now.
Where I don't think that's a huge factor in doing the Ice to Platinum comparison is Ice is known for the Ice Premieres. It's not an auto-driven product. So in theory, you would rather get a Cole Caulfield Ice Premier non-autoed than, they do have like the rookie patch parallels, I think, but that are, the acetate patch auto cards are kind of neat and are starting to grow on me a little bit. But getting back to the point, it's the whole point of the product is the main point are the Ice Premieres rookies that are non-auto driven anyways. I kind of feel like the better value could be with Ice, and that's hurts my heart to say because I'm such a huge Platinum fan. The biggest things that are sticking with me are the 100 rookies on the marquee rookie checklist and the $200 price. I just think that is a combination for a lot of duds in your boxes. And we did a little exercise, which kind of gets us into our final little segment here, really thinking along these lines. And the impetus that we had for this is that we just had Extended come out. We have Fleer Ultra coming out in E-Pack. We have Ice. We have O-Pee-Chee Platinum. And as much as we like to think that all hockey card collectors are billionaires, we know that is definitely not the case. And that, we, with our show, and I assume a lot of other people, are going to have to make some choices in the short term as, well, where do I want to put my money? And the easy answer to that, of course, is always collect what you love, which you should always do, but that's the ultimate in subjectivity. And there could be many irrational or irrational reasons why you would love a product or another. So really not much to talk about from that perspective. And so looking back at sort of like the value and the market and how collectors in aggregate kind of view these products, we decided to do a little comparison that we're calling Box Battle between 2019 O-Pee-Chee Platinum and 2019 Upper Deck Ice. In theory, would have loved to do this in 2020, but as we know, due to the pandemic, Upper Deck did not release Ice in 2020, which is hence why we have the bonus pack and the dual rookie class and the 2021 product. So the nearest release year we could look at was 2019. And I try to think of all the ways we could kind of compare a slice and dice. If I missed any, please be sure to message us, and if and when we do this again, we'll do it next time. So I think I have 6 categories. I used Card Ladder sales history because that goes back the furthest. Terra Peak is limited to 2 years, and a number of these products came out both of them, more than 2 years ago at this point. And so the first category way that we compared them, well, actually, I'll go through the release date and the prices. And boy, if this will make you think, and it definitely made Troy and I talk yesterday and think a lot about this. So 2019 Upper Deck Ice was released on June 17th, 2020. The hobby box price on release date, which I got from Steel City on the Wayback Machine, $88 US. That box currently, Troy, is $299 US on Steel City. So if you had held on to a box and been strong and not opened it, you would have had a very nice, that's more than a 3x return. So that's can be good returns on wax if the rookie checklist is right. 2019 O-Pee-Chee Platinum was released on April 15th, 2020. Hobby box price and release date, swallow hard, $78. Yeah. I would take that in a heartbeat right now. That would change my whole paradigm on the Platinum versus Ice comparison. Current hobby box price is $230 US. So interesting that it's less. And that's on Dave and Adams. I found that. Okay, so here's our comparison. First thing we looked at is just total cards sold on the secondary market. Again, according to the Card Ladder sales history. So for 2019 Ice, there's been 1,420 cards sold since its release date. For 2019 O-Pee-Chee Platinum, 4,907 cards sold. So big edge there to O-Pee-Chee Platinum.
4-1, basically, right?
4-1. Mm-hmm. Now I thought, well, okay, let's look at the total number of sales over $1,000 US dollars. 2019 Upper Deck Ice has had 12 sales over 1,000, and O-Pee-Chee Platinum 14 sales over 1,000 US dollars. So slight edge to O-Pee-Chee Platinum, of course, but 2-0 in our little scorecard in our box battle here. I thought, okay, well, $1,000 is a lot. Let's even look down one more tier and see what it's like at the $500 mark. 2019 Upper Deck Ice has had 43 cards sell for 500 or greater. And 2019 O-Pee-Chee Platinum, 58. Much bigger or wider discrepancy. Yep. But that gives Platinum the 3-0 lead. Then I thought, well, okay, well, let's look at the total value of the top 10 sales. Right? Trying to slice and dice this every way you can think. Ice, total value of the top 10 sales, $16,955 US dollars. 2019 Platinum, $26,254. So big edge to Platinum. There is one $8,000 Platinum sale on a Cale Makar. That card is in Terapeak, and so I verified that. But that is by far the biggest sale for either of the two sets. So 4-0 so far for Platinum. Then I thought, okay, well, let's look at graded and quality as kind of our last two categories. Total cards graded, 2019 Upper Deck Ice, 610. 2019 O-Pee-Chee Platinum, 3,284. So, boy, 5 times difference almost, or more than that for Platinum. And then gem rate and quality. So, of all the cards graded, what's their gem percentage? For 2019 Ice, it's 41%. 2019 Platinum, 57%. Now, Ice might have some thicker cards or acetates. I don't know how apples to apples that one is, but in everything we looked at, and again, looking outside of just the perspective of collect what you like, it seems there's a clear advantage in 2019 to Platinum over Ice. Any of that surprise you at all?
No, I could have guessed on most of them. I think the one that did surprise me was the total number of sales over 1,000, how close they were. Off the top of my head, I could have guessed Platinum would have been the winner on all those categories.
Yeah, after all this, I think believe it or not, I'm hedging towards Ice.
That's the funny thing.
For this release week.
We look at this, and then we look at what's coming out next week or the next couple of weeks, and I think I am too. And this is coming from a guy who's poo-pooed Ice just because I'm a petty person in the past. But I'm really, after digging into it a little bit more, I'm actually really liking what they're doing with the dual rookie class and the price point being a little bit lower. I'm leaning towards Ice too.
It's really an exciting period, and I'm happy the way the timing's worked out because we're going to have the NHL season likely over very soon. And the draft is pretty much, I think people, for the picks that matter, people can tell you how it's going to play out. But to kind of usher us into the offseason, we're going to have this crazy 2-week period where we'll have extended Fleer Ultra, Ice, and Platinum. And it'll be just fascinating to see how all this plays out and where people spend their money.
Definitely.
Okay, that's our show for this Monday. If you like the episode, please leave a rating review on Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show and you want to support us and see us thrive and continue to produce our show and hopefully more stuff down the road, please consider a $5 a month donation via Patreon. Join our out of 99 support level tier. Chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server. The link is in the show description to support us on Patreon, or you go to Patreon's website, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and click on the Become a Patron link. Or if you're on our TikTok or Instagram, it's in our link tree, which is in our profile there. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And the Hockey Cards Gongshow, Troy, is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. Have a great start to your week. We'll chat again on Thursday.